Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Zac Boam, and I'm a sales engineer with Imperva Cloud WAF. I wanted to welcome you to our multi-part video series on Imperva Cloud Web Application Firewall Basics. In this series, we're going to discuss topics such as how do I onboard an application into the WAF? Once I've onboarded my application, how do I create policy and custom rules and apply them to specific domains or entire accounts? How do I interpret security events when invariably they arise? And everything in between. I appreciate you joining me on this journey, and I thank you very much for your time. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Zac Boam, and I'm a sales engineer with Imperva Cloud WAF. I want to welcome you back to our multi-part video series on Imperva Cloud Web Application Firewall Basics. For today's video, we'll be discussing what is the default policy applied by the Imperva Cloud WAF, and how do I create and apply my own custom policy to the domains which are onboarded to the Cloud WAF. Without further ado, let's jump in. Alrighty, everybody. What we're looking at here is the Application tab in the Imperva Cloud WAF console. The only prerequisite we need before we can create a policy in the Imperva Cloud WAF is we need to ensure that we have a domain which has been onboarded to the WAF. Now, this domain in particular is fully configured. But if you have a partially configured domain, which would show as a little yellow triangle right here, then you can still create the policy. Just be aware that because you're in a partially configured state, which means that you are not currently sending traffic to the Imperva Cloud WAF, or you haven't made all the prerequisite DNS changes, that policy won't be applied or won't be effective on proxied traffic until you have made those public DNS changes. Now, in order to create a policy, we need to come to the WAF tab on the left side of the screen and click on WAF Policies. Under the WAF Policies, you'll see a generated WAF default policy for a new account. Now, you can verify that this is a default policy by looking over here under the default column, and it says yes. This policy is going to be created for any new accounts or sub-accounts which have been onboarded to the WAF. Now, when you double-click into this policy, you'll see a couple of things. There are 4 categories here: cross-site scripting, illegal resource access, remote file inclusion, and SQL injection, which all have multiple levels of mitigation that can be selected. Now, the default is to block request, and that will be the default for all 4 of these categories. Now, if you want to, you can add an exception to this. Let's say, for instance, I have some developers who need to execute some cross-site scripting requests to verify that a site is functioning how it should. You can create an exception based off of the country of origin, the HTTP parameter specifically, what specific URLs, or the most common case for exceptions to these policies is a specific IP. So if your developer has a specific or unique IP, you can add them to this exception list and then click Save, and they will now no longer be affected by this cross-site scripting policy. Now, let's go back because we also want to create our own custom policy. In order to do that, we'll click on this big blue Create Policy button. We'll give it a fancy name like Test Policy 1 here, and I won't add a description. But you can add a description, and it's particularly helpful if you have potentially dozens of policies which are spread out across a large number of resources. I'm also not going to enable this policy yet. I'm going to leave this policy as unenabled until I've finished creating the policy and verified that it's going to do what I suspect that it will. Now, there are 3 types of policies that we can create. We can create an access control list, an allow list, or WAF rules. Now, the WAF rules policy type is the same policy type that's generated by default. So what I just showed you a moment ago with the cross-site scripting, illegal resource access, SQL injection, and remote file inclusion, that policy is the only thing that's applicable to a WAF rules policy type. So for an access control list, these are things like geo-blocking, blocking IPs, blocking URLs. An allow list is the exact reverse of that. We're going to allow traffic based off of those same criteria. And when we say allow traffic, that means that Imperva is still going to proxy that traffic because the DNS will still resolve to an Imperva IP address. But we aren't going to inspect that traffic for any security violations. So if a request is sent from an IP which is in the allow list, and that request contains a malicious payload of some kind, Imperva will not inspect that request for validity before we forward it to your origin server. So this is just something to be aware of and something to be careful of with allow lists. We'll create an access control list because I think these are the most broadly applicable and the most widely used by our customers. So we'll go ahead and select access control list and click Create. When we've clicked Create, you'll notice it moved us from this General tab to the Configuration tab at the top here. And like I mentioned before, you can create an access control list to block countries, to block URLs, or to block IPs. Typically, I recommend when you create a policy or an access control list specifically, you only create that policy for one of the following categories. Because if you have a mixture of blocked countries and blocked URLs and blocked IPs in the same policy, though it may seem easier to manage because you only have one or two policies, it can get quite complex if you have potentially dozens of policies that have blocked countries, blocked URLs, and blocked IPs all mingled together. So, like I said, for the sake of simplicity and ease of management, I typically recommend, if you're going to create an access control list, create it to only block countries or to only block URLs or only block IPs. Now, with blocked countries, we can select specific continents. So if I wanted to block all of South America, I can do that. And let's say there's a handful of countries in Africa that I want to block, Botswana, the Congo, and Liberia. You'll see them populate here, which means that when I've saved and applied this policy, any requests with IP addresses that match these geo orgs are going to be blocked by this policy. Now, that's how I would create a geo-blocking policy, but what if I wanted to block a specific URL? I'll have to select a specific parameter, which is typically that the URL contains. This is the most frequent parameter. And let's say in this case I want to block any URL that contains /admin. We'll go ahead and add that. You'll see the URL contains policy here has been added with the /admin parameter. And if I were to click save, now I would block any requests that hit the /admin path on my specific domains that I apply this policy to. Now for IPs, this is pretty straightforward. If I wanted to block the, like a 1.1.1.1 IP, I could do that. I'd click add and it would populate below here. You can also use ranges of IPs in here. So if you have a full CIDR range or maybe a /24 that you want to block for some reason, you can do that. Additionally, if you have a list of IPs from a previous security tool that you want to upload, which you know are malicious, you can upload a CSV file of those IPs and it will automatically populate this policy for you. Now let's go back. I'm going to create my policy to block countries here. So let's go back. We'll block Liberia, Ghana, the Congo, and let's select all of South America just for fun. Now, I'm going to go ahead and click on Applied On here at the top. I could go down and click Save. This is just a little time saver for you. You click Applied On the top here, and it will take you to a page where you can select how you want this policy to be applied across your onboarded applications. Now, if you only have a parent account or a root account, you can select that here. If you want to apply this policy or make it available for all of the sub-accounts on your parent account, you can do that also. This is by far the most frequent option we see selected. Or you could choose specific sub-accounts if you wanted. And then you're going to select the specific resources you want this to apply to. In my case, because I only have the one domain onboarded to the WAF, it's my zacsflyshop.com, I'm only going to see the one website listed here. If you have more websites, those will populate below. And it's not uncommon to see potentially dozens or hundreds of websites with similar policies applied to them. I'm going to click Save here, and what that's going to do is create this policy for me. So you'll see I have my test policy 1 as the name here. It's of a type access control list, or ACL. I didn't add a description, but if I did, it would be populated here. This is not a default policy, which means that this was not generated by the system. It was generated by a user, and it's applied to one website. Now, don't let the applied to fool you, because this policy is still disabled, which means that even if traffic is being proxied through the WAF and I have fully onboarded my domain, this policy is not being applied to those requests because I have not enabled this policy. So typically this is when I recommend that you double click into your policy, you make sure that the configuration is how you would expect it to be. In my case, I'm only blocking South America, Liberia, Ghana, and the Congo here, and it's applied to my one application, Zac's Fly Shop. We'll see all of that here, and then when I'm ready, I can click Enable. It's going to give me an option here to cancel that or to say, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. I want to enable that policy, which means now any requests that come from those geo orgs that I included in that policy are going to be automatically blocked. Now, that's not a default. Like I said, I had to create that policy specifically, but I've created that policy. It's applied on my one website, and if I wanted to change that, all I have to do is either disable this policy, or I can double click into this policy and I can change where it's applied. I can either change the countries that it affects, the URLs, the IPs, or I can change which resources it applies to. Anything that you change, you then want to click Save, and it will alter that policy correspondingly. I hope that was helpful. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out to our partners at Network Consulting Services Incorporated. Thank you very much.